Time now for Silage Solutions with Dr. Keith Bolson, brought to you by SilageStop Orange, the industry's only total oxygen barrier film. Find out more at SilageStop.com.
With the silage man, Keith Bolson. And Keith, let's talk about the revenues that are being left behind because of dry matter loss and silage shrinkage. Moving forward, how can producers take care of this loss on their operation?
You know, we've been focusing on trying to get producers to put a plan in place that will give them every opportunity, every time they go out to make silage from whatever crop or whatever cutting, to have a chance for what we call a single-digit shrink loss. In other words, a dry matter loss of 9.9% or less. And if we could accomplish that, that would be fantastic. And it's doable. We have a lot of dairy producers doing it in their silage program. And I was just thinking this morning, I know that this year, if we could get some producers just to focus on what we call 2 or 3 big-ticket silage management decisions, we could cut that loss from 18 to 20% to 12 to 14%. We could do it. And it's going to be fun to talk about in our series how producers can individualize their program to accomplish that.
Especially the revenue that you're losing or perhaps saving. If you're doing this right, your bottom line is key here, isn't it?
That's right. And I was just in Wisconsin for the Midwest Forage Wisconsin Custom Operators Annual Symposium. And, of course, we know how much corn silage was put up in Wisconsin last year because of the shortage of hay crop and some issues they had in their corn production. And Wisconsin actually put up 16.2 million tons of corn silage last year. And their haylage numbers were still over 5 million tons of haylage in the state of Wisconsin. And if we put the dollar value on haylage based on today's hay prices, you know, an 18% dry matter loss in alfalfa haylage is a really large number compared to that same number on a ton of corn silage. So one of the things we use with producers is say, okay, here's your bunker, your pile, your tire silo, your bag of silage. You haven't fed a ton yet. You know what your costs are. You've grown the crop, you've paid your grower, you've paid your silage contractor, you bought your inoculant, you sealed it with SilageStop, you know all your costs. And let's just say that cost is $60 for a ton of corn silage. Months later, that silage is going to be gone. And let's say you achieve that single-digit shrink, that dry matter loss of 10%. So you divide that initial $60 by 0.9. And so your actual cost of feeding a ton of that corn silage is $66.67. Someone else who doesn't have that plan put in place isn't looking at attention to detail. Let's say they're losing 25%. They've got to divide by 0.75. And their actual cost to feed that ton of corn silage is $80. Now we put that into a spreadsheet, or I give my nutritionist those values, and I look at milk over feed cost. It's a huge difference whether I'm using $66 for corn silage cost or $80 for corn silage cost. So dry matter loss, shrink loss is huge. And we try to get producers to focus on that, and it's about putting a plan in place.
Well, thanks, Keith, for the update. We'll check in again with you next month. That's the silage man, Keith Bolson.
Listen for Silage Solutions with Dr. Keith Bolson the last Thursday of every month. Brought to you by SilageStop Orange, the industry's only total oxygen barrier film. Find out more at SilageStop.com.